Why does the black man serve the white man? Why does everything the black man do benefit the white man? Why does the black man say freedom is doing what I want to do? And why is it that everything he wants to do enriches the European?
Welcome to the desert of the real.
Peace, this is your brother, Mr. Holipsism. Haven't made a video in a while. There's a reason for that, but I'll get into that in a future video. What I wanted to talk about, this was something that I've had on my mind for a while, and it seems like it's been rearing its ugly head lately in a lot of posts that I do on Facebook, which is where I primarily post a lot of my information because that's where most of my friends are and people that I communicate with. Becoming more, I guess, narrow casting in that sense, because I'm just trying to reach out to people who will actually lend an ear to what I have to say and not, you know, just be negative about everything with really no solutions, but just negative because I'm saying it, If Holip is saying it, then it must be wrong. But I don't have any solutions. I don't have any counter arguments, but, anyway. One of the things that bothered me the most about the so-called conscious community and a lot of people into this metaphysical bullshit is that everybody the focus doesn't appear to be on solutions. The focus appears to be on appearing deep. Like if you could say something that seems deep or sounds deep, then that's the goal. The goal is not actually action. And I did a video on this a while ago touching on this where I called it the drop the mic statement. And the drop the mic statement is really just a manifestation of a philosophy of non-action. And what I mean by that is you have a lot of people who will give you a philosophy that leads to non-action. Like when you spout it, no solutions are in sight. There's nothing that leads to some type of action that goes about the process of fixing a problem. It's all about not addressing the problem and just pinning it on some philosophical stance that really goes nowhere. Perfect example. And this is something that I used to believe in a long time ago, but I guess I didn't really understand the flaw in this logic. Nationhood. We can't establish a nation because we don't have knowledge of self. Now, on the surface, that seems like it makes sense, right? But there's a problem. There's a fundamental flaw with that logic. First of all, who's we? When you say we don't have knowledge of self, who are you talking about? Are you is the person making that statement including themselves in the equation? Because people that don't have knowledge of self are not sitting around talking about nationhood. People who have no knowledge of self don't give a fuck about socioeconomic and political control over their environment. People who have no knowledge of self are basically the deaf, dumb, and blind, the 85%, as the 5%ers say, the people who are just led by whoever get their hands on them first. So when you say we don't have knowledge of self, who are you talking about? Because when I say we have to have a nation, I'm not talking about the deaf, dumb, and the blind. I'm not talking about people that's not anywhere in any of these conversations that we're having. I'm talking about the people that's supposed to know what time it is. So if your position is that the people who know what time it is don't have knowledge of self or enough information to establish a nation, then what the fuck are we talking about this shit for? Why are we engaging in any of this talk about power, black empowerment, black power, or any of this stuff? Because according to you, you don't have knowledge of self. You. Because don't try to pine it off on somebody else. When you make that statement, you are talking about yourself. If I say we need a nation, it's time for nationhood right now, and your answer to that is, well, we can't have a nation because we don't have knowledge of self. You're talking about yourself. Don't try to put that off on somebody else. What's the reason why you, the person that I'm talking to, can't engage in nationhood? You don't have knowledge of self? Well, if you don't have knowledge of self, how are you coming to these conclusions? How are you even thinking about nationhood? How are you even thinking about empowerment? How are you thinking about anything involving the collective plight of black people? That's a fucking contradiction. But you know why they do it? They do it because it leads to non-action. If you throw that out there, well, we can't do a nation because we need knowledge of self. And then you ask, well, how do you get knowledge of self? Well, we have to do this. We have to be initiated. We got to do da 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 da. Well, when is that going to start? Well, the problem with it not starting is because black people don't want to da 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 da. It's a continuous, perpetual computer loop of non-action. It's a Negro stalling tactic. It's a high-end Negro stalling tactic too, because if you don't have the ability to detect it, you would actually think that it makes sense. But I've been in this game for a little bit, so I can detect the bullshit. My bullshit detector is very acute. So this isn't going to be a long video. I'm just saying, instead of Negroes trying to be concerned about being deep or making these stupid statements, these metaphysical bullshit statements, like I got into a discussion on Facebook where I said, and this was a very non-controversial topic, I can't think of anything that's affecting us as a people that can't be solved with land, infrastructure, nationhood. There's nothing controversial about that statement. But yet, I have people chiming in, going to bat, saying, we knowledge yourself and this, that, and whatever. You know what the problem is? And this is something that I've touched on many times in many videos, but I guess because I gloss over, if I don't do a specific video and expand into it, I guess it just goes over people's heads. The conscious community is so concerned about your morality. The conscious community is so concerned about your personal choices. They find that that's more of an issue than socioeconomic and political empowerment. What do I mean by that? If I can control the roads, I can control the highways, I can control the airports, I can control the seaports. If I can control the electricity, I can control the gas, the wind, the solar, the geothermal, the whatever. If I can control the infrastructure, if I can create a system where there's a good educational system, if I can create a system where there's a great healthcare system, what the fuck do I care about how you live your personal life? What the fuck do I care? How is that affecting, if I can do all of those things and control those things and make a good quality of life for every citizen that's living in my nation, what the fuck do I care about what you're doing with your dick? About what you're doing with your pussy? What you're doing with your body, what you choose to eat, who you choose to fuck, what philosophy you choose, what religion you choose to worship. What the fuck does that have to do with anything? But see, that's where the concern of the so-called conscious community is, because the conscious community is a bunch of self-righteous pricks. Self-righteous, judgmental pricks who are only concerned about judging motherfuckers and trying to expose people and all this other bullshit. Instead of what's really fucking important, controlling the socioeconomic and political context of your fucking reality. We're here in America where we don't control shit and we're catching hell. And my solution is, well, why don't we control shit? And then the average dumb, stupid, conscious community nigga is going to approach me with, well, we can't have our own shit because we don't have knowledge of self. Well, guess what, you dumbass? When you make the decision that you want to have something of your own, guess what? You do have knowledge of self. Because a person without knowledge of self wouldn't come to that conclusion, you fucking idiot. How do you judge knowledge of self exactly? What the fuck does that even mean? Or you don't have knowledge of self. Why don't you have it? So me, a person who I can't give you 1,000 quotes on what's in Kemet and what this one said and 6 AD and all this bullshit. But I can tell you, listen, we need to have our own shit. We need to control our own infrastructure. So that means because I don't quote this shit from the past, I don't have knowledge of self, but I'm concerned about what's happening right now and going into the future. That means I don't have knowledge of self. Do you see how stupid that fucking sounds? This is why Amos Wilson said this, and he addressed this in one of his videos. And he said, instead of looking to the past to try to recreate something that has already existed and quite honestly has failed because that system is no longer present in modern times, why not try to look at what's going on in your circumstances today and arrange your culture around that to try to compete against other cultures and other nations and build toward the future? If you're thinking like that, you have knowledge of self. If you're quoting Kemet and quoting shit from 10,000 years ago, and you haven't manifested anything, any of that philosophy into something that's tangible and concrete in today's world, then you don't have knowledge of self. You just know a bunch of shit. Like that scripture in the Bible, ever learning and never coming to a knowledge of the truth. I don't know what scripture it is, but that's one of the scriptures in the Bible that I definitely agree with. You got a lot of motherfuckers out here who know a lot of shit, can't manifest none of what they know into anything practical. So that whole thing about we can't have a nation until we have knowledge of self, it's a bunch of bullshit because the people who want a nation have knowledge of self. And what you're doing, the person who's saying that we don't, you're judging it from a fucking moralistic personal choice level. That's how you're judging people. By what they choose to do with their personal life, what religion they choose to worship. None of that means shit. How do they feel about social, economic, and political issues? How do they feel about the context of their reality? Do they want to live under the infrastructure of someone else, or do they want to have their own shit? And if you want to have your own shit, as far as I'm concerned, you got knowledge of self. And anybody who doesn't want to have their own shit, you are a fucking blithering idiot, and you do not have knowledge of self. Anyway, that's all I got to say about that. And I'll holler at you good people later. Peace.